Welcome back to the Frozen Forum podcast. My name is Alex. I'm your host. I'm joined today in person with Nathan.
We're here.
How's it going?
Pretty good. This has been a production in the making. We've tried to do this for a little bit, but we finally got it figured out. We just got back to school, so yeah, it's been a little bit busy transition.
A lot of things happening. Obviously, going back to April, we were in the playoffs.
We were in the playoffs now.
Our last podcast, I think we were very excited to be in the playoffs. And then you went off traveling. Montreal simultaneously exited the playoffs. And so we were just kind of like in this limbo where we're like, okay, we need to make a video, but let's do it the right way. We're in person. We're in the same city. This is the first time, we're recording.
Yeah, recording in the same city and it's in person. There we go.
There you go. So, yeah, let's get right into it. What we want to talk today is about the Habs and the Habs season. First question for you, right, is, and I think this is an easy one, is like, is this season a success? Right, we lose in the first round, but is it a success?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can't hate on whatever happened in the playoffs. I know we went out in 5 games. We would have liked to see maybe a 6th or 7th, but hey, we were projected to be 6th last in the league at the beginning of the season, and for us to sneak into a playoff spot right at the end there, it was tight. It was real tight.
I mean, not only were we projected to be that low, we also were that low at
lower than that
in the season. I think our playoff odds back in December, it was like 0.3% to make the playoffs. And I really think that just speaks to like the culture that is around this team is we don't care what everybody else says. We're just going to go play good hockey. And they did. And I think, like, you know, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, is like Nick Suzuki carried the team across that hump. But I can't wait until all of these other players get here. And like Ivan Demidov for a whole season next year. Back-to-back Calder winners is what we're going to have. We're going to have like the first team in whatever number of years to have back-to-back.
And hopefully have them both inked in for a long time. That would be...
I'm still telling you, the Hudson extension this year...
we can discuss this. Actually, we can discuss it now if you want.
Yeah, let's get into it. Because Laine Hutson he matched a record and he set a new record. He matched the regular season assist record in the NHL with 60 assists. That's an all-time. That's not a, past 20 seasons. That's an all-time. And then he set a new record for most points in a rookie season or most points or most assists between playoffs and the regular season with like 65. Just incredible what he did. I think when we were talking about him back in, September, October, we saw a lot of this potential, right? And the question was whether or not he was going to be able to execute on it.
He executed on it. I remember those clips in August, September where you were saying Laine Hutson, 60-point season, easy peasy. And then getting chirped by all the Leaf fans.
And the Sens fans and some Habs fans. And
just the entire league.
But the thing is, and I'll say it again, I think if you put Laine Hutson this season, if he had been playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, he would have had 90 points. And the story this whole season for him is that he is an incredible playmaker. He puts the puck in fantastic spots on the ice. And there's a lot of people on our team that just can't play with that because they're not skilled enough to do so.
Yeah.
Right? And it's that's why the future feels so bright, is because we have those players coming, right? It's like...
If those players coming in, we got a glimpse of it with Ivan Demidov,
Yeah.
Just looking.
Oh, man, Ivan. Look, a lot of people are going to hate on his playoff performance.
You got to cut him some slack. That was his 5th game in the NHL was a playoff game.
Yeah. Well, I think he had, 2 regular season games before the playoffs started, and so he's played 7 total, I think.
Yeah. Right?
Including the 5 playoff games. It's come on.
Just relax.
We also have to remember, the comparison we were trying to give is, Demidov compared to Caulfield, because it felt very much the same way, right? When Caulfield came in at the end of the NCAA season, they lose in the Frozen Frenzy. No, Frozen 4?
Frozen Frenzy is NHL.
Yeah.
Frozen 4, yeah.
No, I think they lost in the Frozen 4 with BU, and then he comes to Montreal. I don't know if you remember, but that first series against Toronto, Cole Caulfield was not incredible, right? He had that one fantastic pass to Nick Suzuki to win the Game 5, which was fantastic moment.
Unbelievable.
But it wasn't until like the third round that he really started. Like third round, he had 4 goals.
I know. It was,
Right, but that's the whole thing, right? Is like Ivan, like he's still growing. I can't wait to see what he's going to do next year. You could see glimpses in the playoffs. Actually, sorry, this is what I want to talk to you about, specifically about Ivan. I think the best thing that could have ever come out of the season, Ivan Demidov was on the first power play unit in the last 2 games of the playoffs because Patrick Laine got injured.
we have to speak about him after as well, Patrick.
We can,
But
we can. I'm not going to hate on him as much as I think you are, but
but yeah, no, it was great to see him on that first power play.
he looked fantastic. That unit looked fantastic, and the reason that's so like exciting is because it took 15 games at the beginning of the season to get Lane Hudson on that power play unit. Like, you think he's going to start off the power play unit to begin next season? Hell no. Like, you know what I mean? Like Demidov is on that unit. That unit set in stone unless somebody gets injured, obviously. It's good to see.
More about Laine Hutson. He led the Habs in the postseason in points with 5.
Just crazy. Yeah. Point per game in the playoffs.
Point per game in the playoffs. That's just unheard of for a rookie and then rookie defenseman.
Listen. Lane Hudson, great player right now, but I don't really know if he's going to be able to make it in the second round. People used to say, right? Yeah. Oh, he's so good in the NCAA. Yeah, I don't know about the NHL. Oh, he's so good in the NHL. I don't know about the playoffs. Oh, I don't know about the first round. Yeah, okay, but I don't know about the second round. This guy can't.
Haters are gonna hate, but he just uses it as fuel. So like they can just keep on bringing the heat. They can't keep fueling the fire. That's fine with us.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Yeah, I think Lane Hudson is easy. So if we're giving grades here, Lane Hudson is like a
A++.
A++, right? Like easy. Who's that next tier of players?
Next tier of players has to be Nick Suzuki. I mean, Nick Suzuki this year, first season in the regular season, averaging more than a point per game. 89 points, 82 games. I don't think he missed a game.
Did not miss a game. The Iron Man streak is still on.
Yeah.
He's like fourth in the NHL right now for active Iron Man.
Yep. And his first season with 30 goals, he's filled that captain's role really well. 0 complaints with Nick Suzuki.
He had 33 last year.
He did.
Yeah. So second season in a row, 30 goals.
Okay.
Which even better. I think when we talked about him at the beginning of the season, I'm just looking at our projections. We said he was going to get about 33. We thought, which was the same number as 2024. We didn't think he was going to take a step up in goals. And I think 30 is close enough to 33 to call it like a good projection,
Yeah.
Decent. Yeah, I definitely agree, though. Nick Suzuki, next tier. Who else is up there? And we'll call it the A tier, where we're giving them A's.
Okay, if we're giving full season, I think it's really just Nick and Laine in that like super high A tier. But then as we go down a little bit,
I want to put Caulfield up there too, though.
Okay.
At 37 goals.
70 points.
70 points.
Didn't miss a game either.
Didn't miss a game. I just thought Cole is like the one guy who like sneakily, like he completely changed his game, right? You look back what he was doing 2 years ago. The only time he was scoring was from that left dot. This year, I think he scored 3 goals from there.
He had to adjust with Patrick Laine in the lineup. So
no, but not only that, he's learning where on the ice he can be to score goals, right? It's like in different situations, and what that's going to enable, I think, going forward. Like this is the foundation for a 50-goal season, right? Is you get to the right areas. You look at Austin Matthews when he scored the 60 whatever goals. It's like he's not scoring from one point in the ice. He's everywhere, and it's when you figure out and get better at figuring out where to score from. I just think it's a fantastic season for him too.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. But if I'm going to go later half of the season, I almost put Slav up with Nick and Lane Hudson.
I agree. Yeah. Second half of the season?
Yeah. The first half was a bit iffy. That's why I'm not putting him fully in the A tier. But his second half, phenomenal. Slav's fit in his role. He's also not as afraid, it looks like, to get his hands dirty a little bit if he needs to.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely exerting himself more.
Yeah.
Basically. No, it's very true. And I mean, what do you think that first half of the season for him, though, is? Like, up till February?
I put him at a B. He was still figuring out, like, a B-, honestly. He was still figuring out where he should be. I mean, the addition of Patrick Laine kind of threw him off a little bit, too.
Yep.
Yeah, I put him at a B- and then progressed pretty quickly.
No, that's fair. Let's go down. I'm going to pitch you some guys to maybe put in that A tier as well. I pitched you Brendan Gallagher.
I was just going to say that. Brendan Gallagher playing unreal. I mean, he loses his mom this year, and then that was sad. But then, since that point, God, he was unstoppable.
Did you know when we projected him at the beginning of the season, we said his high bar that like there's no way he could ever score more than that was 18.
He did it.
He scores 21. I think that's a sizable difference too, right? It's like 21 goals. I think he refound his game. You know, he's been getting injured so many times, and this is where like this season was where he got back. You know what I mean? He figured out what he needs to do to be successful in the NHL, and he looked really good. He looked healthy. He looked, the whole thing.
Yep. No, I agree. What did we have him at for, like a point projection? Or did we only do goals?
I think we only did goals. We might have to do points next year because points matter too. In terms of people who outperformed our expectations, the other one maybe deserves a mention here is Christian Dvorak. We projected his high to be 11 goals. He scores 12. He had 5 last year. Now, obviously, contract year for him. We both hope, I think, that he does not come back. He can go find a home somewhere else. But he looked good. I think that line, him, Gallagher, Anderson for most of the season, I thought they played well. They had some really good games against Washington in those first 2 games of the playoffs as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's get to one guy in particular. What did we have him projected at?
Patrick Laine is tough. So we had him projected his low bar to be 25, mid 40, high 50. Now, that being said, Patrick Laine scores 20 goals in the season, but he only plays 52 games. And so if we prorate that, right, for a full 82 game season, like what that pays. Because remember, like we said, this was all if he doesn't get injured. Apparently my formulas aren't working. So
it's about like 34. It's about 34 to 33,
right?
34. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean,
it's 30 exactly. Actually,
it is
there you go. So 30 goals. So 30 goal pace. It's a little bit above our low bar.
Yeah.
Right. I think though when he came back from the injury, he had a stretch where everything was going in, and then after that, it kind of diminished.
And it was all on the power play too. We need to see more production out of him on 5-on-5
He never looked. I think you'd agree. He never looked 100%. Like he never looked like the Patrick Laine you've heard of. When he was being drafted against Austin Matthews.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Was it Austin Matthews? Yeah, right.
I think so.
Yeah. Because Jack Eichel was Connor McDavid. Yeah. I never thought he was completely there, and I mean he gets injured in the playoffs. He broke something. I think he broke like a finger in his hand, and which doesn't sound that major. It sounds like maybe you could play through. I mean, if you can't shoot the puck, maybe we should try it. We'll break your finger, see how well you do
before today.
not. Hopefully not. Yeah, but I think you want to see more from him, but you understand why we didn't. I think.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you give him tier wise though?
Sorry, Laine, but for me, you're getting a C. We just need to see more out of you on 5-on-5, even strength. We obviously know how you can play on the power play, and we love you there. But the majority of the hockey game is played 5-on-5, so something's got to change. Hopefully this offseason. Hopefully Nick is that spark in the offseason to get everyone together on the same boat. I mean, we were towards the end of the season, especially when our team was more finalized, and then we threw in Ivan Demidov.
Talk about off-season. There's a video. Ivan Demidov was training last week in Broussard. Good. Staying around Montreal. Apparently a lot of the players have been staying around Montreal.
That's good. That's like the 86 Bulls after they lost devastatingly, and then they come back because Jordan led them off-season.
No, that's what we project. Okay, let's go into maybe some of the players we thought this season didn't play that great. Okay? I'm just going to look at this based on our projections, right? So obviously we talked about Slav. David Savard. Shout out David Savard, by the way. He's retiring. Thank God. I think everybody in Montreal is saying. David Savard scores 1 goal.
David Savard, Stanley Cup winner, by the way.
Stanley Cup winner.
Yep.
Tampa Bay.
Yep.
2020?
Against us.
Was it against us? Oh, and then we signed him. That's right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, David Savard back then, pretty good player.
He's pretty good.
This year?
1 goal, 15 points total. God, he played 75 games for us.
Look, I think he took some minutes.
Some
minutes. I look at David Savard. I think I'm going to look back on David Savard later in life and be like, I'm glad that, Montreal is his hometown.
That's true.
I'm glad that he, could be home, be around, be with his family, grow, whatever, retire in Montreal. Thank God he retired at 34 and didn't say, I'm going to play another 4 years. And that's about it. We'll move on from Savard. The other one that maybe missed our expectations, did not get the hat trick that you wanted him to get, Arbor Xhekaj. You wanted him to take a step.
I know, we needed to.
Throughout this whole season, right? And I just don't think you ever saw that step being taken, right?
118 penalty minutes, minus 13, 6 points. He's still the energy in the locker room, though. I still think we'd give him...
that spark that he brought in Game 3, great. That energy, and this is the thing that some people overlook. I was talking to Charlie about this, actually, is the difference between how the Habs played when Xhekaj was in the lineup versus out of it, right? Xhekaj himself, very minimal impact, right? Doesn't do much. The other players on the team in that Washington series specifically, starting in Game 3, because Xhekaj is there, they go out and they be a little bit more chippy, a little bit more trying to get under people's skin, right? It almost feels like, right? It's like if you and I were playing hockey, it's like I could be chippy if you're on the ice. Because if somebody comes and punches me, I know you're going to come and, clobber them, right?
Yep.
And so I can be a little bit of a whatever, get under people's skin. Now, if you're not there, I'm going to be like, well, if I do this, I have to take accountability for it. I'm going to have to get punched in the face and nobody's going to come rescue me, And so maybe I won't do that anymore. And that's what it felt like. Like Game 3, we were in there. Demidov trips Wilson. He slew-footed him. I don't know if you saw that video, but it was fantastic. You know what I mean? It's but Demidov never does that if Xhekaj's not in the lineup, right? And so maybe again, I think at the end of the day, Arbor Xhekaj is a great sixth defenseman.
Yeah,
he won't ever be more than that. He has the potential. That's the thing, right? He has the potential.
This guy is probably the hardest worker on the team. I'll say that. He's also probably, unfortunately, the least talented on the team.
That's true. So why he didn't get drafted.
But work can eventually beat talent, and if he keeps working, I could see him eventually working his way up into mid-fifth and maybe fourth.
The talent that is coming up in our decor.
I know, it's tough. It's tough to...
But this is what I'm saying. I think he's a really good sixth. Now, I think his brother brings the same energy. I think his brother is way better as a lock for the team long future. Florian... Fun fact. Shout out to the Laval Rocket as a side note. The Laval Rocket are in the AHL playoffs. They have won, I think, only one round because they got to bye the first round. They're doing phenomenally. They won the AHL. They had the most points in the AHL this season. Florian Xhekaj set an AHL record as the only player to have ever scored 30 goals and have more than 120 penalty minutes.
Wow.
That's ridiculous, you know what I mean? But so he brings the same energy is what I'm trying to say. I think Florian is a perfect fourth liner. And what I don't wonder is if you have Florian in the lineup, if you need Arbor.
Brothers, with that brotherly connection, two sheriffs.
Could you imagine having two guys fighting at the same time? Yeah. Two Xhekajs fighting? Xhekaj swings a punch. The other Xhekaj swings a punch. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Have them bounce off each other.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so shout out Florian. When we look at who's coming back next year, right?
Who else underperformed?
Well, we were going to talk about Mike Matheson at some point in time, but guy scored 6 goals.
Congratulations, Mike Matheson. Scored 6 goals.
Did you see the video of him with Team Canada?
Yeah, and he's diving across the goal line to save everything.
No, not that. There's a video where he breaks his stick. Most Mike Matheson moment ever, okay? In the offensive zone, at the blue line. Breaks his stick, gives up the puck to the defender who's trying to block the puck, right? Because he doesn't have a stick. Races to the bench to get a new stick. Because he's trying to defend, right? Grabs a stick from the bench, turns, toe picks, and falls. And then leaves it, and gets off the ice. it wasn't like like the other defense. Like it was playing with like Cale Makar and stuff like that, right? It's like he has defensively minded people, to like play with, right? Yeah. He's got Sidney Crosby like to play with, which is like ridiculous. Mike Matheson does not deserve to play with Sidney Crosby or Cale Makar or Nathan, all of them. You know what I mean? It's like that whole team he doesn't deserve to play with. And then you see that also the one where he was diving across the goal line.
That's more effort than I've seen.
He turned the puck over 10 seconds before that happened. So he's saving a goal, but the goal never happens if you just get the puck out of the zone. It's like
Matheson. But he still finishes the season with 31 points.
Well, yeah, because he's put on the first power play unit for the first 15 games of the season, and then he's put on the second power play unit for the rest of the season. It's like, look, I could get a lot of points too in the NHL if I was just a defenseman on the power play unit and had to pass the puck to Cole Caulfield for 15 games. Like that doesn't sound that hard. As I say that, I do realize that my negatives I'd be like a minus 60 in 15 games, but you understand my point. What do you think like the biggest takeaway is though of the season? Like we've sort of gone through the major players, the major contributors. What do you think is what we need to take away and go into next season with?
I think people don't realize how good it is that David Savard retired. Our defensive situation is not great. We have Lane Hudson, we have Caden Gooley, and Carrier. Carrier
was great. Yep.
But our other three, not as hot, not even nearly as hot.
I mean, we were talking about their overalls at one point in the season, right? We had 3 defensemen that were under a 7 overall. 7.
So with one of them being gone, that means we'll have to replace one.
Yeah.
That leaves us with Mike Matheson, who still is under 7 overall and will probably be on the first line if Marty St. Louis keeps it up. And then Jack-Eye, which I honestly don't mind Jack-Eye, even though his overall rating is not great. We need him in the lineup. He just brings the energy to the locker room. Yep. So our defensive situation is going to be figured out. Our forward situation already looks like it's figured out now. They just need to build more time up together.
I'll say this. I think from the forward group, the wingers, you're right. I still think we need a 2C. Because I don't think Newhook can be that.
And who would that be?
Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett, if you're watching this video. You won't, but if you are, go. Actually, don't win a cup. I want the Oilers to win this year. Have fun in the playoffs. We will pay you. Come to Montreal, and you can win. Again, you like winning, right? Why would you go back to Florida, the team that we're going to beat 5 times over the next 7 years in the playoffs? Don't want to go back there. Come over to us.
I don't think we have to explain it to you, but you already know we have one of the youngest, most energized teams in the NHL with the most potential. Just come on over.
A side note to that. Shout out Sidney Crosby. Look, that Pittsburgh team is rough, man. Like, and what they're doing there, full rebuild. You really want to be there for that? I know you have I know that you have a lot of passion for Pittsburgh and their fans. And believe me, they will not fault you for wanting to come to Montreal to actually win games and actually be competitive and play with Ivan Demidov, somebody who I'm sure you regard as a very highly skilled player. And, well, more importantly, you can win, right? You have a chance to win with your childhood team. He was a Habs fan growing up. So here's the question. Sidney Crosby or Sam Bennett? Assuming, it's obviously Sidney Crosby, right?
It's Sidney Crosby.
100% of the time. This guy scored 90 points as a 38-year-old.
It's ridiculous. But then if Sidney Crosby comes, captaincy immediately to Sidney Crosby?
No. As soon as he's a captain, you give him an A. You take the A off of Mike Matheson if he has an A. He might have an A.
He might.
Oh, no. That's a problem, too. So you trade Pittsburgh.
If you need a defenseman.
Listen. This is a great pitch, okay? Pittsburgh. In this trade where you're sending us Sidney Crosby, make sure you ask for Mike Matheson. Because Mike Matheson, if you put him with Erik Karlsson and Chris Letang, he will look really good. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. And so at the trade deadline, you can trade him for a first-round pick.
And if you don't believe us, you can see what he's doing with Team Canada right now with Sid.
Well, no, because we're... But all you need by back into the grinder and trying to next year. Like this is insane. That kid is...
And it was... I don't remember how many games, but I know it was
over 60.
It was 153 points
in over 60 games.
Yeah, that's Gretzky level.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, not only is Gavin McKenna scoring these points, he's not this year draft eligible.
Something like 15 or 16 or something.
He's 16. So next year is his draft eligible season. This guy's gonna have more hype than Connor McDavid.
Than McDavid, you think?
Yeah.
What did McDavid put up in his Erie Otters?
I have no idea. I mean, OHL is different than WHL, but true.
Connor McDavid's 2014-2015 season with the Erie Otters, he played... Oh, because that was the year I think he broke his wrist when he punched the glass. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He played 47 games and got 120 points.
Okay, look. The Gavin McKenna this year, WHL, 56 games, 29. And that's a year younger.
That's true. How many games did you say?
56.
Okay, and Connor McDavid's year before that with the Otters, 56 games, 99 points.
Yeah, so he's 30 points ahead.
Wow.
At the same point.
Isn't Gavin McKenna Connor Bedard's cousin too?
I have no idea. Possibly.
I think he is.
All I know, Pittsburgh, get it done. You cannot get the last pick or the first pick in the draft if Sidney Crosby is on the team. You can't. It won't happen.
Imagine 2 decades of Crosby magic to who knows with Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
I mean, it'd be like, winning 3 Stanley Cups with the Chicago Blackhawks and then getting Connor Bedard. It's like the same things. Like,
they're not blood cousins. They're related by marriage.
Whatever. Same thing.
It's crazy.
No, McKenna's fantastic. No, in terms of who I actually want to be a center on this team, though, Sam Bennett, if Sidney Crosby doesn't happen, and that's a big if, because I truly believe that the Montreal Canadiens are the only team in the NHL that could do it. As much as there is that connection with, Colorado because of McKinnon, I've been watching them a little bit in these World Championships, and Crosby and McKinnon don't complement each other very well. Both of them are centers, first of all, and so they keep going to the same area of the ice, which is a problem. They're not used to being a winger, right? Crosby's not going to change that anytime soon. And McKinnon better not change that anytime soon because he's a fantastic player in the NHL. Well, both of them are, right? Montreal just makes so much sense. And to see Crosby, I don't even know what the Bell Center would do. Like, could you imagine what the Bell Center would do if Crosby was on the team?
Gonna explode every night. We'd have to go. Like
I think we're going to go. A side note, this is actually planned. We're going to the first game of the season next year.
Okay.
We'll run it back. No, like...
The noise would be unreal. If you've never been to a Habs game before, just...
Yeah, imagine how the Leaf fans are outside of the arena, right? And then multiply that by 2 and put them inside the arena.
So it's just... What can I even compare it to? Like a EDM concert, basically.
Yeah.
Like when those goals are scored, it's that loud.
It's nuts.
Pumping.
It's actually nuts. Well, one of the things when we were there, the thing that really, really surprised me is like the crowd cheers so loudly you can't hear the speakers. You can't hear the music. They're playing music. You can't hear it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think the real difference between like Scotiabank Arena in Toronto and the Bell Center. We were playing the first game of the season in the Bell Center is what we went to see, and you could not hear the speakers in Toronto. I thought there was no noise in the stadium whatsoever except for the speakers. They just pumped that arena with sound. Just
businessmen, like they've got a real problem there.
Real problem amongst the crowd, and we'll shout out the Toronto Maple Leafs who successfully proved that they cannot win.
That the Buffalo Sabres can win more playoff series in 20 years
than you can.
Than they can in 20 years.
What a great stat that is.
We'll dive more to that next episode. We're going to cover more of that. This is the Habs episode.
We'll talk about the Habs.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the rest of the NHL next week.
Yep.
The third round is underway and getting going. Look, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about today, the one big thing, is Kent Hughes. We've sort of covered the players. I think it's important to cover the GM, what he did this season, and then we'll cover Marty as well, and maybe see what we need to do better going forward. We're going to go quick, transaction by transaction. I want you to give a grade of how good or bad it was. June 30th, last year, trades Jonathan Kovacevic to the New Jersey Devils for a 4th round pick in 2026.
Wait, I'm going trade by trade?
Yeah, trade by trade.
Okay, I'll give that a B.
B. I would say it was a C. Kovacevic was fantastic in New Jersey. Earns a $4 million extension by 4x4. I think that's what he signed. And our defense this year? So, B, C, sure. July 1st, signs Slavkovsky, You hated this when it happened. 8 years, $60.8 million.
Now I like it. Now I like it. I'll give that one A minus.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Yep.
July 30th, signs Arbor Jacki to a 2-year, $2.6 million extension.
It's overvalued, but I like Jacki. So in terms of value alone, I'll give it a D because it's Jacki. I'll bump it up to like a C+.
Fair there. We'll go the very next day, signs Caden Gooley, 6 years, 33.3. Comes out to 5 point something a season.
Oh, that's an A.
A's for sure.
A. Yeah.
A for sure, right? Okay, next, big one. Patrick trades Jordan Harris to Columbus for Patrick Laine and a second-round pick.
That one, now, even though I was just talking about hating Patrick Laine, is still a phenomenal trade. I'm giving that an A+ still.
I mean, just a second-round pick at the end of the day. We talked about it last year. It doesn't even matter what happens with Laine. Fast forward, beginning half the season happens. We're not doing great. Everything kind of looks a little off. We've got 0.3% chance to make the playoffs. Trades Justin Barron to Nashville. 1-for-1 for Alexandre Carrier.
That, in my eyes, he's our third best defenseman on the team now, so I'm going to give that one an A.
Fantastic trade. I think arguably that's the trade that changed the trajectory of the team. Right? If you don't make that trade, you don't make the playoffs. Which is crazy to say, but I mean, we were, 2 points? 1 point ahead of Columbus. Imagine what Columbus could have done with Patrick Laine. We'll go on to March 4th. Signs Jake Evans. Extends Jake Evans. 4 years, 11.4. Comes out to a little less than 3.
Jake Evans, I'll give that a B.
I think Jake Evans was a story of playing really well, then he gets extended and he didn't score a goal after that, which is a little bit worrying. But I think he got a little unlucky with the bounces at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. He got maybe a little too lucky at the beginning of the season. But as we said back when it happened, 2.7. Not going to complain too much about that in this kind of environment. March 7th, big one. Does not trade Dvorak, Armia, or Savard on the trade deadline day. All three of which are final years of their contracts.
Okay, again, back then, F. B+ or A- because it kept that team together. And at the end of the day, that's what they needed. They were a young team. They didn't need a whole lot of change. This is a team that's not used to a lot of change and that could adapt very quickly.
Yep.
So I think that was the right call.
I agree. I do agree. We'll skip over April 4th. This is going to have a very big impact later on. Signs Jacob Fowler to a 3-year entry-level deal. Gets him over. He's playing in the AHL. April 8th. Successfully signs Ivan Demidov and brings him over on a 3-year entry-level deal.
Whatever is above an A+, like an E. Is there something?
E is definitely below D. Are you kidding?
No. But normally you've seen grades of E.
Oh, yeah. Back when we were in school, where you have excellent, good, satisfactory, whatever. Yeah.
Above A+.
Needs work. What was it?
NI needs improvement.
Yeah.
Got a few of those maybe.
Cool. Okay, so then overall.
Yeah.
Overall, we've taken each individual transaction he's done. Overall, what do you think he gets?
An A-.
I agree. Okay, let's move from management. Let's go to the coach. Marty St. Louis has been nominated to win the Jack Adams Award this year. A, do you think he deserves it? And B, what do you think his grade should be for the overall season?
Okay, I don't think he deserves it because I don't think he played all of his cards effectively. I mean, there were definitely changes that needed to be made within the roster itself that he didn't make soon enough. And if he wins the Jack Adams, then that's just positive reinforcement for him. So I would not want that. I think there's a lot of things that, sure, it's justifying his inaction.
Yeah.
And what was the second part of the question?
Grade, overall season.
But we can't forget that at the end of the day, he did get us to the playoffs. He did coach us to the playoffs. So I'm still going to give him a B+.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Would you say, I have a take on Marty. I think his ability to inspire his players and get players to buy into a system is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best in the league. We're up there with Ron Brind'Amour, up there with, what was the guy in Cooper, John Cooper. Yeah. I honestly see that as a 3. I think it's just a 3 because all of the other coaches that are having success right now were never able to get in that buy-in until they were actually good. Marty is getting a terrible team. Like, on paper, I agree with Vegas. We should not ever be close, right, this season. But he's getting them to buy in. Like, imagine what's going to happen when we have a real team in front of him and real defensemen, more importantly. You know what I mean? Like that, to me, the thing, I do agree with you, the thing I don't think he does perfectly yet, that leaves a lot to be desired, a lot of the time from fans' perspectives. He doesn't make changes quickly enough. He does not try to control the flow of the game by using timeouts and challenges and stuff like that, which, I mean, there are a lot of games in the season where we just let a game slip away, and even if we could have been competitive, you just need to call a timeout at some point and say, okay, guys, let's calm down, let's bring it back, instead of allowing the other team to score another 2 goals in the next 5 seconds or whatever it was that one game. Yeah, and then in terms of deployment and stuff, again, I think he's... The thing we keep forgetting, it's really, really easy to forget. He played Mike Matheson a lot of minutes. Mike Matheson cannot play that number of minutes. The problem
is who's
going to play the number of minutes, right? Like, who are you going to give them to? And that's, to be honest, the outcome I think everybody should take out this season is you need really strong decor to be successful in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And until you have that backbone, right? And it's like, even look at like Edmonton, you know, like everybody loves to hate on Edmonton's defense. Evan Bouchard is a plus something on the defensive categories, like when you measure all of his advanced stats. Like, he makes turnovers. Yeah. He is a phenomenal defenseman. Defensively. Not just defensively, he's a phenomenal defenseman. The thing that Mike Matheson got like a minus 12 on defensively, he's getting a plus something, right? So my comments to everybody on Twitter was roasting me when I said we should maybe go after Evan Bouchard this season. Like, wouldn't mind him. I think he's actually a pretty good defenseman. Shoot me, but like, whatever. Will he give up the puck? Yeah. But he's a phenomenal defenseman. But the other thing is like, but then you look at the other players in Edmonton, right? And like, Darnell Nurse is not the offensive person he used to be. He's pretty good defensively. Ekholm, fantastic defensive defenseman. I don't know who else is on the team. Kulak, pretty good defensive defenseman. You know, but what I'm saying is like that decor is good enough. Our decor, and the thing that really saw in the playoffs, our decor is not good enough. So to that end, let's start looking forward. We've looked at the season. What do you want to do next? What is the goal? I already said the 2C, but
first thing, get a defenseman. We need someone to replace Savard.
Replace. Please not replace. Upgrade.
Yes, sorry. Upgrade from Savard. Let's make it someone who could be a potential option.
Okay, the big one that is allegedly on the trade wall for whatever reason is Noah Dobson.
Yes, right.
Noah Dobson, I'm just going to say this right now. Noah Dobson would be
unbelievable if we got him. Just imagine. Because then we'd have 3 absolute weapons.
Give me Noah Dobson and then get David Reinbacher up here. Side note, these Laval Rocket, David Reinbacher is a phenomenal defenseman. He's going to be something special. Like I've been watching clips that come up. I just don't watch the Laval Rocket games. I've been watching the clips that come up, and like he's a very, very good defenseman. This is what I want. All I want next season, right? Give me
Hudson,
Gooley Dobson, first pair, and only first pair because of the defensive stats, not because of like these. Gooley Dobson is skating 27 minutes a night, right? Hudson Reinbacher is skating 24 minutes a night. What's that leave me? 9 minutes a night? Jack guy?
And
carry you. Get rid of Matheson.
I think there's some world where Matheson gets traded to the Islanders.
Look, I honestly, I would buy out my Matheson contract if I was the Habs. I would expect that the trade value, there's negative trade value. It's like just scary. I don't care how you get rid of him. Like bury him under a rock, you know?
Yeah, fair.
Like, actually, better yet, bring him to Utah.
Mike Matheson, the Mammoth.
No, that's not what I mean. I don't know if you're going to get my joke. Bring him to Utah.
Is he Mormon?
No, it worked terribly for Emil Heineman. So maybe somebody in Utah will hit him with a car too.
Forgot about that. Oh, jeez, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't actually wish any harm on anybody other than Oh, well, I was gonna say other than Mike. No, I don't actually wish. I really do believe if Mike Matheson is on this team next year, if he has actually played as a second or third pairing defenseman in terms of minutes, he will be fine.
I actually think Matheson is okay for the first 9 to 10 minutes of the game.
No, it's not even that. I honestly think his defensive instincts are fantastic. I think defensively he's so good. The thing that pisses me off about Mike Matheson, he was 20th in the league at shots of his that were blocked. He had like 120 something shots that were blocked.
That's insane.
His percentage was like over 50%. Almost. It was like really close. Like I calculated it was like 43, 44, 45, something like that percent of his shots get blocked. But the problem is it's not a Cale Makar shot block where the shot block is happening right in front of the goal and it's because, there's some player there.
Yeah.
Like it's going to the guy's shin pads.
And then it's a breakaway.
And it's a breakaway, or then it's a zone clear, then it's a lack of possession, right? And even when he gets it through, he's shooting on a net with nobody in front of the net, with nobody around the net, with nobody. It's like that's the thing that pisses me off about Mike Matheson. Pretty good. Like I'll give him defensive game an A, offensive game an E, or like an F. Like if we're talking about E,
F minus,
like an F minus. Literally offensive game F minus.
I can agree with that. And maybe if he is just playing 10 minutes a night, he'd have his stamina. He could actually skate for an entire hockey game when his hockey game is 10 minutes.
And that's where I think like you can have at the beginning of the season, let's say we signed Dobson, right? The goal for the team is, or like at the start of the season, you can have, Gooley play with Matheson and play as a second pair, right? A true second pair, like a 19, 18 minute a night second pair, right? Because he was playing at 27, 24, 25, whatever. Have Hudson, Dobson as a first pair, which just sounds ridiculous. Like that just,
What's Dobson's value?
So we have a great website here. Shout out to Evolving Hockey. I love your stuff. Anybody who likes stats in the NHL, I would highly recommend this website. It's great. They have a projection for contracts. And so we're going to pull that up here. When we look at contract projections, his projection, 8-year, 10.6.
That's deep.
We have the money. The thing with Montreal is it's not about the money.
I know, because we have the team's so young that we need him for a long time. So we need him just...
Well, I mean, and look, more than that, he's 25. He's 25, Nathan. Like, we're signing him to an 8-year deal at 25. That goes to 33. That is every single good year that a defenseman is supposed to be good for. He's perfect. He's perfect. I honestly think he's actually perfect.
Well, Kent Hughes is obviously thinking about him. Right?
Oh, of course. But here's where we talk about offers. It's like, I'm willing for Noah Dobson to give them 3 first-round picks.
And that money.
Yeah. Well, not the money. I pay him the money, but I'm not paying them the money. No, but I'll give them both first-round picks this year and the first-round pick next year, which happens to be equivalent to what we would have to give up if we offer sheet them at that amount of money.
God, do you think Ken Hughes would do that? I think he would find some cheeky negotiation to not do that.
I think he can get it done for less. Is the end of the story, right? Look, the Islanders win somehow the draft lottery, pick first overall. They're going to pick Matthew Schaefer, most likely. The team as a whole, I don't know where you go. I wonder. There's been some speculation that Bo Horvat might also be a target from the Habs to fill that 2C role. Now, Bo will not get done before free agency opens because I think like Sam Bennett is a better option, is a better complement to the rest of our team. Bo Horvat could be interesting. Both, I'll take both. I mean, they project Sam Bennett as 7'5". Like if he comes under Suzuki,
that's nuts. Florida is just so deep, bro. Like, for them to be able to give up Sam Bennett, to give up Anthony Stolarz to the Leafs as well. Stolarz was he not a top 5 goalie in the league last year? Or top 10?
I don't remember. How many games did Bob play last season? I feel like not even half the games.
Until the playoffs.
I mean, Bob heated up in the playoffs, but...
Yeah.
The problem with deep teams in a salary cap era is when you have to go and sign people, you don't have money to do it, right? Bennett just look, he doesn't score a lot of points. He's a 50-point player this season. When I say not a lot, I mean not a lot for NHL,
Yeah. NHL players that are making 7.
Yeah, but more than that is because our players when we get 50-point players all the time. 50 points on our team is great. How many players scored more than 50 on our team this season? 4? 5? Tell me it's 5. Tell me it's 5. It's actually 5. 4. Oh my goodness. 4 players. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you could sign this guy, you could sign this guy just for the points,
You had 4 over 50 made the playoffs.
But the thing about Bennett at the end of the day is the stuff that he's bringing right now in the playoffs is phenomenal.
He just knows how to get under people's skin. He's a rat that we could use. Oh my god! Imagine having Bennett and then Jack-Eye backing him up, and then another Jack-Eye backing him up.
Well, the question I have: Demidov and Slav play on the same side. I know at the end of the season, the Slavkovsky, Caulfield, Suzuki line was phenomenal. Could not get better.
No.
They were top 5 in the NHL in a bunch of statistical categories, which was ridiculous. If you have Bennett, think about Bennett and Slavkovsky together.
Dirty duo. God.
I think it just opens up so many more combinations. You know what? That's what I want. That's what I want on this team.
More possibility.
More good players that you're like, oh my god, they're on the ice. This is great. Instead of being like, oh my god, Armia's there. Well, why is Armia out there? More than that, I need a team where anybody who goes out to take a shootout attempt, I'm not like, what the hell are you doing?
Okay, I genuinely don't. True. Do we have enough money to sign Laine to the deal that Alex wants to sign Laine for, and Sam Bennett?
Yes.
No Dobson?
Yes. So let's look this up in Wikipedia.
We also got to talk about your Laine Hudson deal that you want to sign.
11. I'll give him 11.
For how many years?
8. Sign him 88. Richest deal Montreal Canadiens history.
You got to say that one to the camera.
I will sign, if I was the GM of Montreal Canadiens, and I walked in to, the negotiation room with Laine Hudson, and Hudson's agent said, listen, we want to do 11, and we're not going to come down from that. Actually, better yet, if they say 12, you say 10, and you meet in the middle at 11, I say, yep, done deal. Easy. Easy peasy. There's no reason not to pay the guy. And this is why. This is genuinely why. If you sign Laine to an extension this season at 11, it looks rich. If you sign him next year after the season he's about to have next season, when you have more talent on the team, when you have better complementing players playing on his power play, right? And you're giving him a power play 1 opportunity for the entire season, you will be needing to sign an extension for Laine Hudson at 13. And that's it. It's like the reason you signed it this year at 11 sounds rich, is next year's going to be 13.
That's fair. 2 months ago, I thought this guy was nuts saying that, but sounds more and more reasonable. You mean, even after he got that record, tied a record and broke a record.
I mean, the thing is, the salary cap is going up, right? And it's going up by a very substantial amount next year, right? It's going from 91 something to 97.
Yep.
And it's supposed to rise to 105, and it's supposed to rise to 111. Right, so when we're talking about an $11 million deal, we're talking about less than 10% of the cap in 2 years. And this is for a generational talent. This is something that you can't find Laine Hudson, right? More than that, I do think we're going to offer sheet some people. I don't know who. I don't know who in the NHL is going to offer sheet. I guarantee you, there's going to be at least 3 offer sheets this offseason, because with the salary cap going up, you have more flexibility for that. What was I going to say? Yes, sorry. If you re-sign Laine. Actually, sorry, never mind. It's an null point. Laine is not eligible to be offer sheeted next year. So yeah, that's not a worry. That's the other reason we're gonna sign some offer sheet. We don't have anybody they can offer sheet. Nobody. It's a good situation to be in. I mean, unless somebody wants Kirby Dach. Cap space next season, and this is not including Carey Price. Because Carey Price is LTIR, right? So it adds another 10-5.
Could you imagine?
So what everybody was saying 2 weeks ago.
Came back with this team. He'd win the.
Do you know what Carey Price's new name is? Jacob Fowler.
That's true. He thinks he's going to be playing next year.
I think Montreal is going to have a really difficult time with goaltenders this offseason.
Because we have three who
Because Dobesh has looked good at times. Looks like he only needs to fix a few things and he's going to be really good. Montembeault has been phenomenal. He was like 4th in the playoffs before he got injured in goals saved above expected. He was phenomenal. Jacob Fowler is the kind of goaltender that will get paid $10 million later in his career. What do you do? I actually don't know what you do. But that one is the one that I'm like, good luck, Kent. Because a lot of people want to see Jacob Fowler play in the AHL for a season, take the starter role and just get a bunch of development. And I'm like, okay, great. Sure, you could.
Just get him in there.
Worked fantastic for Caden Primo.
Yeah, just get him in the league. Get him some real experience.
Going back to the cap, though. Next season, it's $8.6 million in cap space, not accounting for the 10.5 that we could also have in LTIR. So total cap space, 19 million. Right? And that's with a roster of 18 people, which is a lot, right? So you give Dobson 10 point whatever of that. You're down to 9. You give Bennett 7, right? You've got 2 to fill in the gaps with AHL players, whatever. Florian Xhekaj, bringing him up and whatever. And then going into 2026, 2026 is when all the big contracts come off, right? Which is when Laine's extension kicks in, right? Because 2026, who's a free agent? Patrick Laine is a free agent. Matheson's a free agent. Oh my God, is Brendan Gallagher still paid in 26? He is. Crazy. But the cap goes up, and then you have these other contracts that come off the books, right? It's like Patrick Laine being the big one. And so you have another, if Laine is at 11, you'll have another $10 million to spend in 2026 on whoever you want. That's insane.
Yeah, well,
that's what I mean. We have the money. The money's there. And the other thing I'll say is, like, this is something you learn in fantasy hockey too, that you need to learn.
I was in France, not being
high-end talent is what wins in the NHL. You cannot win without it. A. B. Having 30 people who can legitimately be on an NHL roster is not productive whatsoever for your team. Right? The Montreal Canadiens find themselves in a position where they have so many prospects. They have so many picks that are coming up, that are going to come up, whatever. Like, we're talking like Owen Beck and whatever, and we just drafted last year Michael Hage. Right, he's going to go back to college, by the way, for next season. But like, he could join the roster at the end of the season next year. Talk about like Luke Tuck is probably like a long time 4th liner on our team. Fantastic build, all that kind of like. I think your hope one day is that Luke Tuck and Florian Xhekaj, play on the 4th line together, right? Because they're just big guys who know how to play that kind of hockey, right? Which is what you need back there, right? And so I'm just looking, like, you have so many prospects. You have so many players who are already in the NHL. Like, this is when you need to go expend your assets to get those pieces you need to fill it out, right? I'm so done with having 15 picks per draft. There's no reason. We don't need it, right? So that's why I said 3 first-round picks. I don't care. Whatever it is. Whatever the cost is to get Dobson, I pay it. Because I'm not saying actually whatever the cost. Like, I'm not giving up Suzuki or Caulfield or whatever. Anything that is not on the roster today and is not Jacob Fowler, David Reinbacher. I'm struggling to think of anybody else who I really want. Michael Hage. I really like Michael Hage. I think he's... Yeah. But like, other than those 3, ship it. Get it done. Do you think the Islanders should rebuild here? Just tear it all down? Or are they one Mitch Marner away from being...
Even with the Mitch Marner, can they get it done? I think that we can cover that, though, next time.
Yeah. We'll cover more. I mean,
we'll cover the other teams next time.
Yeah, I think what we'll probably do next week, we can sort of. How many minutes have we been recording? We've been recording for an hour. Probably a good place to sort of sign off, I think. We have a sense for what we want to do around the team, what we're going to be looking for. To give everybody else sort of like a direction of where we're headed. Almost the end of May right now, 3rd round. So next week, probably just talking about the playoffs, right? Talk about some of the other rounds. Talk about, whatever. Talk a lot about the Stanley Cup final the week after, because that's when that stuff will start. And then all of a sudden, you're end of June, you've got the draft coming up. That's when a lot of trades happen. And most importantly, you have free agency start July 1st. And so that's sort of where we're going. And then we'll figure out what to do for the rest of the summer. But the next few weeks, I think, are
lots of playoff stuff.
Lots of playoff
information.
We won't talk about the Habs too much, just talk about how good Sam Bennett is and how great it would be if he played with Ivan Demidov.
And we'll talk about the Leafs, and we'll talk about...
Yeah, we'll talk about the Leafs. We can talk about the Leafs.
Yeah, got lots of stuff about the Leafs.
Shout out to Leaf fans. Listen.
This is the first time I felt like a little bit in my heart. I felt a little bit.
No, this is honest to God, Nathan. Like, this is the first time that I have like wanted to make jokes and felt too bad to make the jokes. I was relentless back in 21.
Yeah.
In 22, 23, in 24. This season is like...
What a way to go out.
I'm sorry. Now, that being said, I think we both agree that Leaf fans that are sad must be 1,000 times less obnoxious than like Leaf fans that are like,
we still have a chance.
Like, we won, you know? Like, could you imagine? Yeah. The Leafs won. I was telling this to somebody, I was like, if the Leafs won the cup, do you know how obnoxious Leaf fans would get? I bet Leaf fans feel the same about us, and it's probably true, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Which is why, if you're a Leaf fan, you really should not want the Habs to win the cup. That simultaneously is a great reason why you should switch over, because we actually have a chance, whereas you guys can't win a Game 7.
You know, you can get Habs jerseys on NHL.ca/shop. Just get a Suzuki jersey, get a Demidov jersey, get whatever you want. I saw a few videos of Matthews and Marner jerseys getting burned on Twitter, so if you need a new jersey,
there's a guy...
More than welcome.
There's a guy on Reddit, on Habs Reddit.
I saw.
You saw this post, eh? What was it like?
After being a Leafs fan for 3.5 decades, it's finally time to jump ship.
He said, this year or I'm gone, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so then he came out of Habs Twitter, and then he had like 3,000 replies from Habs fans going, hey, welcome to the team. And he was like, oh my gosh, the support I'm getting right now is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because we're a good fan base. Because A, we know hockey. B,
we're the best hockey community in the world. And C,
absolutely.
We have the Bell Center. Best environment.
Best environment. Best ice. Do you know Bell Center is rated best ice in the NHL every single year by the players? Best ice. Look, and that core, you want to talk about a good locker room. That locker room is phenomenal. And that's the thing I think always was missing in Toronto. I've never heard a story about having a good locker room in Toronto.
I mean,
even when they were young, even when Matthews and Marner and Nylander were young and they're coming up and they're like, there's so much excitement around the team. I never once heard a story where it was like, oh my gosh, the locker room dynamics are fantastic and everybody's having a great time. Same thing with Ottawa, to be completely honest, right? Like, when do you hear like the Ottawa Senators are a great, community-led team? Like the joke that Jack made to me was like the Habs are getting in with just
vibes,
the power of the friendship. Anyways, we'll sign off.
Okay,
take us away.
All right, everyone. Thank you for making it to this point of the podcast. If you are still here, we appreciate you very much. We love you all. We appreciate your support. We didn't get our 100 subscriber goal this year, but it is okay. Our giveaway will still happen next season, or maybe in the off-season at some point, but it'll be something a little bit different. Just whenever we hit that 100 subscriber goal. Yeah, make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure that you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. I think that is all. So take care. It's been a pleasure. We've missed a few weeks, but we are back better than ever, back in person. Au revoir, a bon afternoon.